Okay, so we have a very, very sensitive topic that we're talking about today. We're talking about addictions and trauma. And I say that it's sensitive because usually when we hear addictions, there's a lot of negative outlook on people with addictions. There's a lot of blame. Almost like a person is made to feel like, oh, they're choosing that. It's their fault. They don't have enough willpower, which is absolutely awful, because one of the reasons most people battle addictions is because of unhealed and unprocessed shame in their body. And so dumping more shame on top of shame, super awful. So we're going to do it differently. Instead of focusing on what's wrong with me, why can't I stop? How can I get rid of this addiction? We're actually going to flip the script and we're going to ask things like, what is the positive intent of this addiction? What is it trying to keep me safe from? What is it hoping to regulate out of? And how can I work together with my body instead of trying to strong arm it and force it to do something that it doesn't feel safe to do? So that being said, let's dive in.
For those that don't know me, my name is Michelle. I'm a somatic experiencing practitioner and the founder of the School of Transformation, which I consider to be like nervous system rehab. As a trauma survivor myself, I know exactly what it's like to have to rewire your whole nervous system so that instead of staying stuck in protection, you can step into authenticity and connection. And I teach everything that I learned along the way in the School of Transformation. So if you're looking to do the inner work to heal in a community, I invite you to check out the School of Transformation. There's currently a 30% off sale, giving you 7 to 9 meetings each month for only $77. Here's the link for you to check it out.
So let's first start by clearing the air with the fact that any addiction that you're battling is not indication of weakness, indication that you are broken beyond repair. It doesn't mean that you have no willpower. It doesn't mean that it's your fault. What it does mean is that your nervous system adapted. It adapted because of trauma. I want to share with you something that I went over at our last live meeting in the School of Transformation where we talked about addictions. And I normally host the safety and addictions workshop for free in the School of Transformation. I open it up to the public, but my daughter's getting married in 6 weeks, so my schedule has been absolutely insane. So I couldn't host that as a free workshop. So I want to share some things that we went over in that last meeting. Okay, so this diagram is used for something else, but just kind of bear with me. What I really want to show you guys is how we wind up getting stuck in addiction. So our nervous system is able to flow between parasympathetic and sympathetic. In childhood, we have rupture and repair. Anytime you think of a child, you know they cry, right? View this side as rupture, right? So there's rupture, the baby's crying, there's a problem, and then the parent comes and soothes the child. So there's repair. There's more rupture, the child is sad, they don't get their way, they're crying, they're soothed, right? So the nervous system then learns when there's emotions like sadness, pain, loneliness, there's also this repair of love, acceptance, and kindness. And so we have the ability to be in this, right? The strong emotions, okay? Because there is repair, there's balance. Well, if you have trauma, a lot of the times we had rupture, right? And there was no repair. There was more rupture. We weren't allowed to feel our feelings. We were shamed for being ourselves. There was stress with nobody helping us through it. And we're spinning and spinning on this side of the rupture of strong emotions, of stress. And then we grow up, and without this repair that we never learned in childhood, the body in its wisdom goes to addictions. It's like, oh, there's this rupture. I feel so horrible. When I eat something heavy, all of a sudden, I get relief. So all of a sudden, anytime we feel stressed, we go to our addiction, whether it's food, or maybe I have a drink and I don't feel the shame, or maybe I start smoking and I feel more calm. The addiction becomes our nervous system's way of getting the regulation it should have had in childhood, because spinning on this side is unsustainable for a long period of time. It's too overwhelming. And so our body goes to the addiction for the regulation that we should have had in childhood. So as you can see, our body is not trying to harm us with the addiction. It's not trying to keep us stuck. Rather, it is desperately seeking safety, a safety that it was never able to internalize because in our childhood, we didn't get that. So it's seeking relief from the strong, unhealed emotions that are still in our body that we don't know how to be with because nobody helped us through the trauma that we experienced in childhood. And so if you're watching this video, it's probably because you battle one addiction or another. And so I want to ask you to pause and see what it might be like to stop viewing your addiction, whatever one you're battling at this moment. What if you stopped viewing it as bad behavior and started viewing it as your body's attempt to self-regulate because it doesn't know how to do so any other way? See what it's like to be open to viewing the addiction like that. Let me know what comes up for you in the comment section below. Because the reality is that drink might be your body's way of trying to calm hyperarousal. That addiction to sugar or caffeine might be your body's desperate attempt to pull you out of freeze because you need to get things done. That mindless scrolling or binge watching on TV shows that is stealing so much time, valuable time that you inside want desperately to use elsewhere, might be trying to keep you from being with emotions that are overwhelming that you have not learned how to be with yet. So notice the positive intent behind the addiction. So the thing with the addictions are that they do provide relief, just not lasting relief. And so in the School of Transformation, in our last meeting, somebody asked a really good question. I want to share with you that conversation.
Michelle, I have a question. Sometimes when we overdo something, it does not feel good. So when you say we are addicted to how we feel after the addiction.
Let me rephrase that. Thank you. We're addicted to how we feel when we do the addiction. After the addiction, after we do it, and now we're back in dysregulation, there's shame. Thank you for clarifying that. So I have a drink. I don't feel that shame. But as soon as the alcohol has been metabolized out of my body, that shame is back with vengeance. And now I have shame because of not being able to be with the shame and because I couldn't stop the drink. Is that what you meant?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Yes, thank you for saying this is why I need you guys. See? Thank you. Right. Same thing with food. I eat that pizza, I eat all that food. Now my body's not up here anymore because it's so busy digesting that it gives me a relief. But the second the digestion is done, all of it comes back and now I'm mad at myself because now I still feel that and I ate in a way that I didn't want to. That's really out of harmony with who I am.
When I was working through my own addictions because of the trauma, the unhealed trauma that I was facing, when I learned this, it really helped me to take the shame away, put it aside, and start realizing that my body was seeking safety. It wasn't addicted to the addiction as much as it was addicted to the regulation that the addiction temporarily gave it. And when I realized that there's a way to help my body to regulate in a more lasting way, in a more healthy way, and I started working together with my body, it's amazing how the addictions, they just dissipate on their own at a pace that's comfortable for your body as you're building the safety within. And so as we start working somatically to build safety in our body, we shift out of shame and we shift into curiosity. And the three most important questions that you want to start asking yourself if you're battling any addiction, whether that's food, vices, scrolling, rumination, the questions you want to ask are, what is the positive intent behind this craving? 2, what feeling am I trying to avoid or find? And 3, how can I work with my body instead of against it? Now, that being said, I want to be fully transparent with you. Once you learn this information and you know it, right, and you get it up here in your mind, and you might be watching this video and being like, this is exactly what I needed to hear. Just because we understand it cognitively does not mean that the body follows automatically, because our body learns through what it experiences. And so it's not just about telling the body we need to be safe and find safety within, it's actually about helping it to do so. And that's not an overnight thing. That takes time, that takes patience and compassion. Whatever trauma you experienced in childhood was too much for your system, or too little, right? Depending on what traumatic events you experienced. Trauma can be the horrible things that happened to us, or the things we needed to happen but didn't get, right? Either way, the trauma was too much for your nervous system, and so your body has decades of these survival skills, these coping skills, these protective mechanisms. And your body's not just going to be like, oh, you learned something? Okay, you can now control this body. No, it desperately wants to keep you safe. And so part of the healing is slowly and in a supportive way, deconstructing survival coping skills that kept you safe at one time, but that are maladaptive now, like addictions. And let me tell you, it's a process. It's a process of building that safety over time, so that as you do, your body will then feel safe enough with you to regulate it, that it will then stop going to the maladaptive coping skills. Now, doing this work alone is very difficult because, again, a lot of the reasons why we have these maladaptive coping skills is because we didn't have the co-regulation in childhood that we needed. And so as we're doing this work, if you find yourself struggling to really see progress and you're constantly plateauing or starting right back at square one, it's often because your nervous system needs that co-regulation now to really help you to reach the goals that you want to on your healing journey. And that's why I invite you to check out our live weekly Zoom meetings in the School of Transformation. I meet together live with survivors of childhood trauma from all over the world, and we learn how to support our nervous system. We learn how to come back home into the body so that we can let go of the protective self and we can step into connection and authenticity, and we do it all together. So if you're struggling alone, come join us weekly on Zoom.